Hi. Let's wait for some people to join us. People are coming in. Hi, good evening. Hi. Let's wait for a few more. 50, okay, 60 is good. 70, oh, we could wait for 100. Okay. Hi, so let's start. Hi, it's 10 p.m. in Berlin. The news today, we're here to speak with artists Banz and Bowinkel about their work. My name is Annika, Johann König and we curate the exhibition series The Artist is Online together. The artist duo Banz and Bowinkel is part of the exhibition with their series of body paintings, so let's invite them. Hi, ja, alles Roger hier. Danke für die Frage. So it's not working. Waiting. Connecting. They're coming. Hi, didn't work for a second.
Hello.
Hi. Nice to finally see you live.
Yes.
We've spoken so much over the phone and I have never seen you before. So good to see you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We saw you a couple of times.
Yeah, I know that you're watching every night. So I feel very honored that you were watching. So I think for our viewers, it would be good to know who is Banz and who is Bowinkel. Who is who?
Banz.
And she's Bowinkel.
Okay, great. Friedemann and Julia. You live in Berlin and you are live in partners and business. So you work together as artists. How does this work?
It's very difficult, to be honest.
I can imagine.
We're working now together for almost 10 years, I guess, or even longer, I don't know. So you get along, you find your routines.
Yeah, we have, there's an Italian joke. So why do cops always work in pairs? Because one can write and one can read. So we found out that we both have things we can do good, and
I'm glad to hear that one can read and one can write. That's good.
when we combine it, it's even better.
Okay, great. I checked your website today because I always find mission statements, I don't know if that's the word, when it comes to artists describing their work, but I always like to read those statements on websites, and I read on your website that you generate reflective moments that shift between moving images, virtual sculptures, and snapshots. So, what does this mean?
I think that's actually a quote from Christina Ergang, right? Or did we write that?
No.
But you put it on your website.
Yes, for a reason. Because when we started working with the computer, we pretty soon found out that you can do lots of things with a computer and you are not really bound to any kind of specific output, let's say. So you could do video, you could do renderings, you could do, nowadays you can do VR, AR, you can do 3D printing. So when we started working with the computer, we were really flashed by these possibilities that you can, with one media, get all these outputs. And so this is why we explored some of them.
Julia, do you want to add something?
Yes, I think we even could organize and design our exhibitions. So it's really, we could do anything, also plan and simulate. And we simulate the first exhibitions we simulated. It took us yeah, I don't know, 1 week. And then in reality, when we realized this plan, it was so weird that I think almost the whole night, we rearranged everything because we couldn't believe that it's the best way to do it. But at the end, we finally came out, that's the best way, how we simulated it in the computer. So that was very funny.
Cool. One note to the viewers, I switched off the comments because they were running through Julia's face. I found that a bit weird.
You should switch places maybe.
So sorry, I switched off the comments. If you have questions, there's a question mark down there, right next to the comment button. So if you have a question, please use the question mark button and send them, and then I can read them. The two of them can't, and I'll pick some of your questions and show it to them, that we can see Julia's face.
Of course.
Okay, you've already mentioned it. You work a lot with technology. How did this come about? I mean, and you started that quite a long time ago, so these days it would be something kind of normal.
Yeah, I think it started with a fable for the aesthetics of the computer during our studies. Back then, we painted, and we used the computer as a tool to generate compositions, collage. But we then, at the end, we painted it. We painted the collage. So I think it was one thing, and also then the rising of the upcoming of the internet, the web, the computer in every field in society. I think all the questions, all these transformations in society, which became so interesting and so exciting. That's why we wanted to dive into this field, and we thought painting is not enough anymore to then translate it in painting gestures or in painting. Yeah, painting is something else, some other questions to the media, and so yeah, it was the starting point to switch the media.
Yeah, I think the aesthetics were really thrilling us in a way. First, we just stumbled upon images that were computer generated, and we didn't know that they were computer generated. We just found them interesting.
Oh, we knew.
Yeah, we somehow knew, but we didn't know
how to do it. Yeah, how they were
made.
You knew
he didn't. That's why he has you as a,
Yeah.
Sorry, Friedemann.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is when we then started to explore how these images were made, because at some point we didn't want to just quote them, we wanted to generate them ourselves, because we felt it's quite limited to just rely on something that someone else has done and not to be able to modify or we thought that if we could handle the tools, we could generate more precisely what we were thinking of as artists. And then when we were playing with these computer tools, we realized that they're very closely linked to what's going on in society, because we were working with the computer and everything in society was run by computers, and since computers always work the same, we discovered that what we do in the computer is basically what's happening all over the place. And that really was a moment for us where we thought, wow, this is really something many generations must have dreamt of, because as an artist, you are amidst of what's going on in society just by using this tool. And that was really interesting.
And has the perception of your work changed over the years? I mean, when we launched Manuel Rosner's digital exhibition, surprisingly, this rather works last week, some people seem to fear that we would like to replace the experience in front of the artwork, but I mean the digital doesn't want to replace the analog art experience. So has this changed in recent years when people look at your work?
I don't know if I get the question right. If I get it right, I think in the beginning we really thought this is the revolution, this is going to change everything, and art will never be the same. And we dived right into it. I think now, I mean, video didn't replace paintings, and paintings didn't replace sculptures, and I think it's just something new entered human culture, a new tool, and this tool can be used to produce art. What's that about that?
But I meant more like the audience, not, I mean, the artists basically know what they are doing, but sort of like the audience, when they look at the work. And in the beginning, when Instagram was new and then artists started using Instagram, then it was always, well, this is not art, this is, I don't know, this is just selfies or self-representation or whatever. And when we launched Manuel's exhibition, it was like, oh, yeah, sweet, but it's more interesting to go into a museum or a gallery and really look at the work. But the thing is that the digital doesn't want to replace the analog, but it's an experience of its own. So I guess that's the same for your work. And has this changed over the years because you're doing this so long?
Yes, of course. It changed a lot. There was completely not understanding, big question marks in the faces of a lot of people when we switched the media from painting to digital art. So they just stood, some people stood in front of our images and they just didn't know what to say, and
and they left.
I mean, in the beginning, it was really also horrible what we did, I guess. But
oh, what did you do in the beginning?
Lots and lots and lots of experiments with without knowing how to use these softwares, and yeah, really stuttering around,
experimenting.
Yeah, I think people really had a tough time seeing what we saw back then. And I think it was really very difficult. Yeah.
Do you want to show us something? I mean, you sit in front of a piece, but I think it would be interesting to see something different first. I know that you're prepared. Don't pretend you're thinking.
Let's see.
Julia,
yeah, my screen is in sleep mode. Yeah.
Can you see something?
Yes.
Okay. We prepared something for you because what we saw behind us is one of the latest body paintings, and we wanted to show you how this series evolved. And it basically, we started working on this series in 2013.
The body
14?
which one?
The post paintings.
2011.
2011, okay. And at that time we thought, okay, we want to digitize paintings. And so we did drippings with ink and very old-fashioned technique. And we scanned those ink drippings and put them in the computer in a 3D program and remodeled these shapes so that we winded up with something like this. Can you see this, or is this off screen?
No, it's good.
Okay. So this is like a hardware rendering. So these were these shapes in the computer, and we then rendered them. So we thought of those images as something like icons of digital space. Yeah, and then we continued to work with these fluids. We found out that there are programs that can simulate fluids. So we started working with these programs to simulate fluids. And then we found out that we could also track our bodies. And maybe you can open this. Yeah, and so we recorded our movements in the studio and created avatars of us that moved basically the same way that we moved. So we created a data set, and this data set we could then in the computer couple with the fluid animations, so that we virtually were painting in the digital space. And maybe the avatar. So here you can see the avatar with its paint buckets. It's a bit like Jackson Pollock. We always thought of Pollock when we did this right in the beginning already. And yeah. And yeah, maybe we show the body paintings that derive from this. Wait.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, this is another video maybe, so that you can see.
Can you move the smartphone a bit to the Cool.
Yeah, this is from 2014, I think.
Yeah. So that's how it looks like in our studio when we work.
Yeah, we want to make a studio.
This is a warm up.
Reminds me of Stranger Things somehow.
Yes.
If you know what I mean, the thing, you know, but it's dangerous, so.
Yes. Yeah, maybe, yeah, and what it looks like is maybe the first ones. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the
brand. This is a snapshot in a way, but it's not a snapshot.
The outcome, basically.
Yeah.
What became more and more interesting to us is the way that the digital reality behaves, because when we have these simulations, of course we can scroll through time, which is something that you cannot really as a painter anymore. So we can scrub through simulations and decide, oh no, this simulation doesn't look nice. We go back to the beginning and we change some parameters, and then we run it again, and then we realize that we create multiple entities of a stroke, let's say, so that we created simultaneous strokes, which you can see here in the image. So this is basically a stroke, and this is the same stroke, but just rotated. And this is also the same stroke, but a little bit later in time, so it has a longer shape. And this is also the same stroke, but earlier in time. And all these strokes are basically one stroke viewed at from different perspectives and at different points in time. So
and with different materials as well.
Yes, and this was something that we thought it's really interesting to have a picture tell you something about space and time and materials in digital space, and yeah,
It was super.
And then you printed them, right?
Yeah, these are all renderings and printed in the end. And yes, and you pointed out one thing is they were printed, and we still we had the need to show also the three-dimensional aspects of a rendering of the content. It was something we had when we worked with a computer, we were always working inside the 3D program, and we liked to move around the objects in the computer software, but the rendering is then two-dimensional just. And so we thought of putting another layer on top of the rendering with AR technology. So we programmed an app where you can see, I mean, we can show one example, where you can see another aspect of our process. So
sorry, what is it? Ah, here.
So we like to have to show this, the aspect of three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
So you could move around the object, and
maybe here's somewhere the avatar hidden as well. Should be.
yeah, there's also an avatar.
Oh yeah.
In this.
It's a bit off screen, I guess.
No, there it is.
Ah,
there it is.
Wait. Yes.
Oh wow.
That's
cool. Oh.
He's actually moving the way that these that we were moving when we generated these
simulation
data sets.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And here's one behind you, right?
Yeah, it's the same.
That's the one that we were just showing.
Excellent. So what we could, do you want to show us something else? Or I know that you also have a VR piece, Palo Alto. Might be a bit difficult to explain, but could be also interesting before we open the Q&A. So people, if you have questions, please then send them behind the scenes using the question mark button down there.
This is the VR installation. And with the VR pieces, we also like to show the computer as a sculpture. It's I don't know.
No, maybe we don't have an image. You have the computer. It's this one. Yeah. We don't have a close up, I think.
Yeah.
Basically Palo Alto, we like the first VR pieces that we were doing, this is maybe another example of the very first VR piece called Mercury. There you also see the computer.
Yeah, and also we like with this work, we like the intersection between VR and the real space. So we had like a platform in the VR where you could connect to the real world via webcams. So the webcams, they were shown on screens in the VR, and you could see the people watching you while you were with the glasses in the VR world. And you also could see the audience and the ego perspective because of the camera in the VR glasses itself. So it was a game between being in VR, seeing the real world from the VR world out, and being watched by the audience, see the audience.
Yeah, and right now we're also working on a new VR piece, but it's not finished yet, so we cannot show.
Do you know where it's going to be exhibited already?
It's going to be for Dimodar, which is the Digital Museum of Digital Art. It's made by an artist, Alfredo Salazar Caro, and right now I think it's curated by Christiane Paul, and they invited us to do something. Yes.
Cool. Okay, so let's open. I put the comments back on.
Maybe I can sit here so Julia will be visible, huh?
It's not the, it's a filter, the comment filter.
Okay, I'm reading
it's one collective.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, here. I think we already, no. No one can see your faces because the question is above your faces.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, I think it's really funny that Instagram put the person. I mean, I can't switch who's up and down, so it's really funny because Instagram should put the person who is invited on top, because my face is not that important, I guess. But whatever. Is this behind you a painting or a print?
This one behind us,
Mm-hmm.
it's a print. We don't paint anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you paint, but somehow differently.
With our avatars in the digital space.
We have our avatars paint for us.
Okay, wait, we have another question. Hi, Peter. Hope you're doing good. Peter Niemann wants to know, on what is it printed?
This one behind us is, I think it's just a Forex. It's like a foam. It was left over from an exhibition, and they asked us whether they should destroy it or if we want to have it, and we kept it.
Okay.
But this is not the way we usually produce.
But we're going to have 2 body paintings in the exhibition, right? The artist is online. When we will be able to show the exhibition at the gallery. And another piece from you, but this is going to be a surprise. Okay, here's a compliment. I mean, it's always good to also show compliments. Very nice show at Dam Gallery.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is an interesting one. I'm curious to hear what you're going to say. Do you think there is something unique about your art? If so, what makes it so special?
Unique?
Unique. Why do you think your work is unique, by the way? Very difficult question. Why is your work special? Because no one else does it, I would say.
Yeah, I guess we are I mean, there was Google Tilt Brush at some point, but we were first.
Very important. And also Pokemon Go. We were before Pokemon Go.
No, but Frank, yeah, I think what we do here with these body paintings, I haven't seen it made something in a similar manner yet. This coupling the movements with the simulations. Maybe someone did it. I don't know if it's really. Maybe it looks different. I don't know. I think what's, for example, with the VR pieces, what we are really after, I'm not sure if we are unique with this feature, but we are really interested in interaction. Mm-hmm. So we really try to become better in creating interactive pieces that are not like this. Sometimes I think it's a bit like a roller coaster. Most of the VR pieces, where you get in the cabin at some point, and then it drives you down a fixed route, and there's not much that you can do. And we really try to create VR pieces where your environment really reacts on what you do. So. Maybe this is something.
Yeah. And I mean, Johan and we chose another piece from you, which is interactive. I think we chose it because it's interactive. So that's what we find interesting about your work. Why is everybody laughing? Hi, Swan Collective. Do you know the Swan Collective? I think so. Yeah, you've met before, I guess. Hi, everyone. So. It's very difficult questions today, I guess. Here's one question. How do you decide about colors?
very subjective.
Yeah.
Okay.
We make very difficult equations and testing phases with spectators, and then we let those results evaluate by a computer and then get the right colors that are really the colors that everyone likes best.
And here's another question. And when do you decide when the image is done? Is it when it looks art enough?
Art enough?
Yeah.
I mean, what we found out is this thing with data visualization and collecting data, playing with the parameters, on Facebook and Google, which the companies which evaluate all the data and make profiles out of your actions. They seem to be very neutral and objective. And what we found out at the end, I mean, you have all this data. You could do the result is depending on your very specific subjective decision what you want to show. So it's really dependent on the one who's making this whole algorithm or whatever. So we think at the end everything is subjective. It's just a matter of what do you want to say at the end, and for us, it's.
Well, basically, maybe I could answer the question in a different way, since it felt like it's pointing towards if it resembles art, or when do we finish when it looks like art for us. Of course.
Funny question.
Yeah, when we started to work with the computer, we really thought a lot about where in art history could we connect what we're doing. So where do we find resemblance in art history? We mentioned Pollock, for example. Also, the Russian avant-garde was really very, very, very important for us because they had this belief in the power of mathematics, for example. They really believed that now that we have elaborate mathematic understanding of the world, all problems can be solved. And they made images for that. They made abstract images with lines and squares and circles, and they really believed this way of this kind of an image could change people, and we really liked this idea and this approach. And so we tried in the beginning to do works with the computer that resembled these works. And if we do work now, of course, we always think of analogies in art history, and this may influence the way an image looks. But at the same time, the media that we work with is so different to the medias that have been worked with before that the aesthetics really differ from how a video looks or how a painting looks. It's really a whole of it's different cosmos. And also photography, for example, it failed when it tried to look like a painting. It succeeded when it started to understand, okay, this is what photography is about. This is how photography is unique. And I think it's this, it's bouncing between these poles. Long answer. Sorry.
Last question. I think I sort of asked it in the beginning. You said one of you can read, one of you can write. I guess, do you want to add something to this? I mean, how do you work together? Anything else to add?
Basically, we are connected via the computer. We have like a server where we put all the things we work on, and and the basic thing is that we discuss and talk, and
there's this great interface. It's a think-to-speech interface called language, and we really like to use it a lot.
Okay. This is the last one, then we're done. High quality computer generated images are technically hard to make today, but it is getting easier and easier. And then I read the rest of the question. It is how do you think this will change your work?
I don't think it's getting easier.
No.
Things are getting easier, but it's, I don't know, if I think of the simulations that we did for these images in the beginning, it was really horribly long. It took days, weeks sometimes to generate the simulations, not the renderings, just the simulations of the fluids. And I think it's becoming faster, the simulations, because computers are becoming faster, but I don't know. I think the work is in the head. It's not the software. Of course, you need to be able to handle software, but I think the more we are skilled in some software, the more you find out that it's basically about thinking and deciding, and yeah. And even though right now we are working, you can see that on our website. One of the latest print series is called Primitives, and those are like platonic shapes that you can find in every 3D program. These are very simple shapes. It's a no-brainer basically. You just click and drag, and you assign a material, and you think it's super easy because it's there already in the program. You just need to use it. It's like the teapot that Aram Batawa mentioned. But then again, when you have to make an image of it, it's still super tough to make it look right, to make it have certain feeling to it, and yeah, I don't know.
Okay, cool. Then I guess we've answered all the questions.
No, I also think it's not about making very complicated calculations in art. Even though in virtual reality there's still also a lot that open up, open end.
He says, thank you for answering the question. So yeah, great. Thank you for joining me tonight after watching every episode this week.
Yeah.
Almost. I think we missed one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed one.
No,
Pascal, yesterday, right? The painting session. You missed the painting session yesterday.
No, the painting session
we
we
were
saw.
there. We saw, yes.
Of course.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. You were in the chat. I remember.
We asked for the rainbow.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, I can send you the finished painting drawing. It's a drawing. I can show it to you later.
Yeah, yes, please.
It looks fantastic. So yeah, yesterday we had a performance by Pascal Sender, and tomorrow evening we're going to have an online movie night with Kaken, and they're going to join me for a talk first at 10 p.m. and Johann König is going to be back tomorrow morning with his 10 a.m. series, and I think he's going to talk to Jorinde Vogt at 10 a.m. and is going to visit her in her studio. So tune in.
Cool.
This was like the promo break. Okay, thank you very much for joining me.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Instagram.